Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Hope everyone's doing well. Just wanted to hop on. Hopefully this will be quick. I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and share this out, and I guess this was inspired by wanting to be a little bit more like transparent about revenue streams and like how it is that I close sales and like what just the process it is that I kind of have in place, the process that I do have in place for my business and how I make things happen. So I figured I would just quickly share that with you guys. If you are joining on the replay, hello, put hashtag replay in the comments section. And yeah, so let me just quickly go ahead and share this out a few places, and then we're gonna get started. So let's see here. Okay. And as you come on in, I see people on, but I can't see who you are. So as you come on in, go ahead and say hello so that I can acknowledge you and say hello to you. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Rob. Yeah, let me see here. All right, so let's get right into it. So the title of this broadcast is 30% of my revenue comes from this. And ultimately what that is following up. So one of the things that I know that I'm pretty good at is following up. So I have a process in place to follow up. And if you're joining, maybe this is like shared out with you and you have no idea who I am. Let me go ahead and quickly introduce myself and then get right into what I wanted to discuss. But my name is Krista Jennings, and I teach entrepreneurs and business owners how to grow and scale their business by implementing systems and strategies. So that's a little bit about me and the work that I do. Welcome. If you're watching on the replay, good to have you. So ultimately, I would say anywhere between 30 to 40% of my revenue that I generate from my business comes from following up. And here's what that means. So on a pretty consistent basis, generally weekly, I have scheduled calls on my calendar with people who are interested in working with me in various different capacities. And some of those people I'm able to close right away on the call, and some of those people, for whatever reason, either they need more time, or it's just they need more time for whatever reason. Either they aren't able to maybe make that financial commitment right now, or there's other priorities that are in place and they have to really prioritize things accordingly. Hi, Katrina, how are you? Hope you're doing well. So once that happens, for the people who I don't close on the call, I don't just leave those people and never reach out to them, or only reach out to them 3 months after. You need to schedule a call. Sounds good. Yeah, let me know. Just shoot me a message in my inbox and we can chat soon. So the people who I'm not able to close on the call for whatever reason, I have a process in place to follow up. And you don't have to follow my process. Maybe you can figure out a process that works best for you, or maybe just using the tools that you already have in place in your business. But what I do is I use a CRM, and if you don't know what a CRM is, it is a client relationship management tool. And what it is that I do is I based on the interaction that I have with that person, I decide how many touch points I'm going to have with them over a period of time. So I've had clients who sounds good. Yeah, just shoot me a message here on Facebook and we can talk. Yeah, so I decide like based on the interaction and what was discussed on the call, how many touch points need to happen over a period of time. I've had instances where I followed up with someone for like a year, sometimes a year and a half, and then just everything just kind of aligned, and then I'm able to close them, and then we're able to move forward, no problem. They pay, they signed their agreement, they paid. All that good stuff, and we just keep it moving, right? So there's money in the follow-up ultimately. So that's what I'm really highlighting, rather, that there's money in the follow-up. And don't just follow up like 30 days after or like 3 months after. Sometimes following up a year after is, not sometimes, a lot of times, following up a year after does not only show that you actually care about helping this person, and it's not just about you making a sale. Of course, you want to make the sale, right? Like, you want to bring this person on as a client, you want to work with them. But it shows that you actually care about people, and I think that is very important. And I remember I think in the latter part of last year, I followed up with a previous client that I had worked with maybe a few years ago. And I was like, hi, how are you? Like, how's everything going? I was just checking in just to see how things were going with her. I didn't really have any clear intention of pitching her or anything like that. And she was like, wow, like, you always follow up. You follow up with me and you just to check up on me and see how things are going. And that's very rare. You don't see that very often in business. And that made me think, like, wow, people actually feel this way about people in the service-based business, or whether that's, like the coaching space or consulting space, whatever the case. Then I know that there's a lot of different feelings and emotions towards people who are coaches, and how that space has really undergone a few different, I guess, flows and waves in terms of how people feel towards people who are coaches, or people who brand themselves as coaches, I think sometimes for a lot of people, just the way how things are presented, it leaves a bit of a bitter taste in people's mouth. Regardless of that, it's important that you just have that physical touch. You have those physical touch points with people. Like, you're being, like, I think it's so easy to get caught up into using systems and tools, which I'm all about. Like, I geek out over tools, and I actually just signed up for a tool that I think will solve a lot of the things that I needed to do, and it's going to do it all on one platform. So I'm still playing around with it. Not playing around, I'm still figuring it out a bit and getting a little bit more accustomed to it. So once I do, I'll share that with you guys as well. It's really great to use tools and software and things to make your life and running your business seamless, easier. Like, I'm all for that. But at the same time, we want to ensure that we're incorporating very consistently those touch points, like shooting someone an email, just telling them, hey, I'm thinking about you. Is there anything, like, what's going on? What's happening with you? Like, just actually having that personal touch is so valuable. And I remember having, I was at a client's office yesterday, and we were talking about that, how, like, it's great to have emails going out to subscribers, but my client also has like a database of phone numbers as well. I said, how about, I know it seems very like time consuming, but I think it's worthwhile to at some point like pick up the phone and call people and say, how's everything going? We know that you purchased this and this. Did you have any questions about anything? Like, actually having those one-on-one connections with people, having that personal touch is so super valuable. And I think that's one of the things that we need to not overlook or feel as if like, oh, we don't have time for that when it comes on to your business. Have you ever used like funnel software for leads? Yes. So, I have been in this space pretty consistently for several years. So I've tested different platforms and seeing which platforms work. And here's the thing, The platforms itself will work if your strategy is a solid strategy. So, I mean, you can have like the most elaborate, sophisticated software, tools, whatever. But if your strategy is horrible or your strategy has a lot of gaps in it, the tools won't solve your problem, right? And this is one of the things that I tell. I was actually doing a sales funnel audit for someone recently. And I looked at her sales funnel and I was like, this is why you're not making any money. Your strategy is your strategy has so many blind spots. Not that it was horrible, but it was horrible. That, I mean, if there's so many blind spots in your strategy and your strategy is not coherent, like if there's so many things that like you're not addressing, and when I say so many things, i.e. your messaging might be off, the offering that you're presenting is off. And if your offering is off, I know that's like play on words. If your offering is off, and when I say your offering is off, what I mean is like if the thing that you've presented to your audience is something that they actually don't want, or there's like disconnect, like they're just not gonna buy. Like people don't just buy things for the sake of buying it. And when buying is an emotional decision, and when people buy something, they're buying into the future improved versions of themselves. We know that, and I've stressed that quite a bit. Granted, with that being said, it's important for you to meet people exactly where it is that they are right now along on their journey. And it's more important for you to actually understand that. Hi, Gina. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Dolores. I see people rolling on in. Say hello. And as I'm going along, guys, if you're finding this valuable, I'd really appreciate you guys go ahead and share this out as well. So, hey, Gina. So we're just having a little bit of a conversation around sales funnels. And I guess just as a bit of a recap, I was saying that 30% of my revenue comes from actually following up. And I've just kind of been breaking down my entire process as it pertains to following up. So you might want to watch the replay. But what I was saying is that like you can have all these tools, all these softwares in your business, but if your strategy isn't solid, the tools won't actually solve anything for you. It's not the tools that save the day. It's actually your strategy, right? If your strategy is weak, if your strategy has blind spots, if your strategy has gaps, then you actually can't hit that particular goal, right? So I was doing a sales funnel audit for someone, as I was saying earlier. Hi, Greg. I was doing a sales funnel audit for someone recently. And one of the things, there was two main things that I was able to identify literally within like 5 minutes of looking at her entire back end of her business. One is that what she was presenting, her offer, like it didn't actually make sense to the people who she was presenting it to, right? So based on where those people are along on their journey and what she was presenting, there was a disconnect. And if there's a disconnect, you're going to confuse people, and confused people never buy. Like the most devastating thing you can ever do is confuse people. And if you confuse people, they will never buy. Confused people will never, ever buy, right? So one thing was that the offer was off. The second piece was that because the offering was off, the messaging was off as well. So what she was saying, and based on where those people are, there was a disconnect. So if you confuse people, like I said, like they're just not gonna buy it, right? So yes, confused people will never buy. Like if you confuse people, you lose them, right? Confused people never buy. So you want to ensure that you're speaking very clearly, you're speaking very specifically. And I think that one of the things that people this is something that I've seen and just kind of been a trend, is that people are so vague in business. And it's like, thanks so much for sharing this out, Gina. Appreciate it. Hi, James. I think this is one of the things people do, is like they're so vague. And if you're vague and people feel as if like they have to like ask more, or like, I mean, it's okay for people to ask for clarification, but if you're super vague on like all levels, then you don't make the communication process easier for you and that potential client. And if you're sending out, like, I send out emails at least like once a week to my community, and I always look over the emails and ask myself, like, or before I even start writing the emails are like, I kind of batch the process. So I'll write like a bunch of emails all at once and then kind of schedule them out over a period of time. I ask myself before I start writing an email, what is it that this person's going to get when they read this email? What is it that I ultimately want them to do? So like, that's the key thing when it comes on to even building out your sales funnel. Like, at the end of your sales funnel, what is it that people are going to get? What is it that you want them to do? Like, you have to be, the more specific you are, the better it is. And sometimes people say, oh, you don't want to be really like, you don't want to be very specific in your business because you miss out on opportunities to close or have sales with a grander, with a larger portion of the audience or the world or people on the internet, whatever the case is. But I think that if you look at it from that perspective, you're kind of looking at it from a perspective of lack. I think that if it's easier to be specific and just really narrow things down. And if you find as if you're too narrow, you can start to widen that space a bit by bit, as opposed to starting really, really wide and then having to struggle to narrow things down. That process takes a lot more time. So I always suggest to get really specific. Like, being specific doesn't hurt at all. At least you know that you can sift through who's the right fit, who's not the right fit, and you get to actively engage and start a dialogue and a conversation with the people who it makes sense for you to, right? Hello. As I'm going along, if anyone has any questions, let me know. So I hope the person who asked earlier about if I use funnel softwares for leads, I hope that actually answers your question. I hope that, I know that was a lot, but I hope that actually answers your question. And if you have any other questions, let me know. So yes, I was saying earlier that that you want to ensure that you're following up with people. I know I kind of went off on a different and really elaborated more, but all in all is that you need to ensure that you're following up with people. And don't follow up with people just like 30 days after, 60 days after, or 3 months after, or 6 months after. Like, I find it more rewarding when I close a client who I've been following up with for more than a year, because generally those people have had some time to sort out whatever it is that they needed to sort out and get started, and they do the work because they've committed this particular period of time to focus primarily on getting the work done. And you don't want to miss out on those opportunities as well. And people, you just need to just have those touch points with people. It's not just about like closing the sale. Yes, you want to make the money and you want to close the sale, but it's more important to have those one-on-one just touch points. Just reach out to people, pick up the phone, get on the phone, hear like, give them a little bit of your time. That goes a very, very, very long way. All in all, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. If you have any questions, if you're watching on the replay and you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, or you can send me a DM here on Facebook. And yeah, and the tool, let me actually pull it up really quickly. The tool that I've been getting familiar with, this probably will be valuable for the person who, I don't know if she's still on, that asked about softwares for leads and tracking, that kind of stuff. Let me log in. Let me log in. Let's see. Okay, so I'm able to log in. Give me a second. So the tool that I'm using now, so I see people on, but I can't actually see who you guys are. Weird. The tool that I'm using is called System, but it's spelled system in French because it's actually, the platform was actually built by someone who is French, I believe. I know he speaks French. I don't know like if he's actually ethnically French, but he's a French speaking person. So let me just quickly turn around the camera so you guys can see. to. So this is a tool, and like I haven't set up anything yet, so this is what it looks like. So it's pretty user friendly from what I see. So let's just kind of let me just go into creating a funnel. So I just tested out a few things to see how like the process, like to see what the process would look like. So you like French? Yes. I mean, I probably should have learned French when I moved to Canada, but I didn't. So let me just kind of quickly go through the let me quickly go through the process of like setting up a new funnel here. So like I said, how it's really important for you to be specific. The same thing applies for when it comes on to a funnel. So I would suggest, like, these are just the options that you can use. So build an audience, you can sell, you can create a custom funnel from scratch, you can run an evergreen webinar, which I'm really excited about exploring that piece. It is French. Okay. So let's say you want to sell something, right? So what you could do is, like, say, for the sake of this testing, 555, and you can select the currency in which you're going to be selling. So put US dollars, click create. And then what it allows for you to do is, like, honestly, I think this makes, this is called System. I'll actually pop it in the comment section, after the link to it. I don't think I'm an affiliate. I don't think they have an affiliate program, but anyhow, but if you do decide to do affiliates, you can do affiliates within this. But anyways, I'm just going to quickly kind of show you step by step, like how simple and easy it is to kind of really, set up a funnel. So what you can do is you can set up like the, transaction page, whatever the case is, and you can select preview. So, let's see what this one looks like, so this is kind of say if you were selling an ebook or something like that, and you can, this is just like a preview. It shows you exactly what that looks like. And we know that this template, and I'm pretty sure you've seen this when you're checking out to buy something before. I think this is, so I would go on a limb and say that this is a tried and tested template for, closing for sales for whatever digital product it is that you have created. So let's say we decided, okay, that looks fine. Then say you went ahead and selected it. What you can do now is you can go ahead and edit it. So you can also do affiliate commission here. So if you decided to give people an affiliate link, you can do that there. On this end here, you can go ahead and edit. So this is where you can customize it a bit. You want to ensure you customize it and put in the right information as it pertains to whatever product or service it is that you are selling. And you do that here, right? And this is generally for something that's like a digital product, right? Then on this side here, you can drag things and you can add these things as it relates to it. You can put in price plans, testimonials, opt-in forms, whatever the case is there. And you can go ahead and just save changes. So I'm just going to do that for the sake of this quick demo, and then click on that there. It brings you back here. So say that's the order form, the thank you page. You go ahead and select the one as it relates to, so let's just say select this one for the sake of this conversation, this quick demo. And then you can select the automation rules, which is like the stuff that I get really excited about. So you can select a trigger, an action. So a trigger so this ultimately means that when this event happens, you do this, and you can select the action here. So the action is that you can subscribe them to a campaign, add a tag. I like adding tags to things, depending on how I'm going to leverage that piece of information. You can send them an email, send a webhook, which I won't get into that. That's a little bit more complex. And you can save the rule, You can also split test, which I believe strongly in testing different things. So whether it is maybe the color scheme or the wording, the messaging, split test things here, so you can create that kind of variation here. This is where it will show you the stats. So whatever information it is that you were able to, whatever the end goal was. So whether it's that you wanted to generate sales, you'll be able to see that here. And just kind of see page views and all that stuff. And this is more specific to actual sales. So this is like an overall stats view. And yes, so it's pretty simple. So I was saying it's pretty simple and pretty easy to navigate. Let me pop the link to the platform in the comment section. Hopefully that will be helpful to someone who's interested in checking it out. Okay, so that is the link. Yeah, so I mean, creating your sales funnel doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be, it just requires that you have the right strategy. And if without the right strategy, you can miss out on a lot of opportunities to really connect on a deeper level with people, but also like generate sales as well, especially depending on what your end goal is with your sales funnel. Like the strategy is the most important part. Like you can have all these tools, but if the strategy is not there, then you miss out on the opportunity to actually get people to do the action that it is that you want them to take. So remember how I said that if you confuse people, you lose them. So you don't want to confuse people in any shape or form. Anyhow, any questions, if any final questions, I see people roll on, and hello, hope everyone's doing well. Any final questions? If anyone has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And if you're watching on the replay and you made it this far, good for you. If you have any questions, just let me know about creating your sales funnel. And if you've already created a sales funnel and maybe you would just like for me to, maybe would just need someone to actually look at it to see, maybe you're just not getting quite the traction, the sales, you're not able to actually, you're finding it a bit difficult to really build your audience, whatever pitfalls, whatever thing it is that you ultimately want your sales funnel to do, but you're probably missing the mark. If you have any questions about that, I can definitely take a look, do a bit of an audit on your sales funnel and let you know what's happening, what's missing, and how to correct that as well. So I'm going to end this broadcast here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday or whenever you actually are watching this video, and I will speak to you guys very soon. Bye.